What if you could deliver boardroom level results at startup speed without the full time price tag? Ashley Miles has built a career, and today she's sharing the real playbook for building impact, speed, and authority in a world where the old career rules no longer apply. Welcome back to Tacos and Trends, our series, The Future is Fractional, where we spotlight fractional leadership roles and how they're reshaping the modern workforce. Today's guest is Ashley Miles, founder and CEO of Franklyn West, a growth advisory firm trusted by leaders across industries. Before that, she was CBO at Thrive Global, helped take Refinery 29 into nine-figure powerhouse that we know it as, and built a career at the very top of the corporate ladder, only to reinvent what leadership can look like on her own terms. Ashley, thank you for being here. Could you tell me a little bit
Thank
about
you.
yourself, Ashley, and how you got started?
Yes. So I'm a Southern girl from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, went to school in Oxford, Mississippi, and then spent nearly 2 decades in New York City helping companies grow and scale, specifically disruptor brands. 5 years ago, launched my own business growth consultancy, self funded, female led, called Franklyn West. And we help disruptor brands grow and scale into nine-figure billion-dollar businesses. So whether that's building new revenue streams, helping companies rethink their growth strategies and co-developing those strategies, reimagining their go-to-market, digital transformation, recruiting and upskilling, we help everyone from Fortune 500 companies to startups and nonprofits accelerate growth and find success and never let them fail.
Amazing. Amazing. And so what kind of sparked the change? I'm guessing like doing like my research here, right? There was a lot of change like during COVID, during the pandemic. Were you trying to think like it's a perfect time to like change path? You had this idea. What sparked the change?
Well, I held three C suite positions before the age of 37. And I always felt
Crazy.
challenged by having a big, bold vision of helping a company grow, but you can't always move at the speed that you want to move with corporate silos, hiring full
Yeah.
time for every job, the thinking that you need to build your own technology for everything. And I always wanted a right hand, a co pilot to help me just turn these ideas on faster in partnership with the full time team. So essentially, we built Franklyn West to be a plug and play, plugging in liquid talent, liquid technology, modern technology to help fill the gap. So, not to replace a current team, but to work hand in hand and helping them build the new car, teaching the team how to drive it if it's not in the core competency, and then getting out or staying on for maintenance. And we have, in our
Amazing.
5 years, built $1 billion new revenue stream for a Fortune 50 company. We have helped top
Amazing.
CPG companies reimagine their go to market to be pithier with consumer and trade. We have helped technology, B2B technology companies break into new categories like beauty retail. So, from soup to nuts, we're in there just to help C suite solve problems faster. And the reality is, C suite are feeling the disruption. Being a leader today, whether it's a startup or a Fortune
Definitely.
500 company, has never been harder, with innovation never sleeping. So they have to always be on the forefront of change and what's new and next. Number two, CEOs expect stronger results faster with less resources. And the third
Agreed.
pain point for C suite is they have old playbooks, but new problems. So we built Franklyn West to really be a plug and play to help C suite win faster and smarter and more affordably.
I love this. If I understand as well, for me, it's a little different how you're suggesting. And I love, we were talking about this right before this, right? It's almost about building this like powerhouse SWAT team to help solve specific problems, right? Which I feel like when you're dealing with the C suite is like very interesting because they always want to see like return on investment. And sometimes if you don't have the powerful team, it's very hard to turn those results, like you're saying. So
Yes.
it's interesting as well. It could,
And also, problems change in business every day. So you could think it's a new full time hire you need to make, but then in 4 weeks, the remit changes and then it's not a fit for the employee or you. So we believe that it's more
exactly.
about an agile, fast moving workforce where by 2027, half the workforce will be fractional. So we're helping these mid level to C suite leaders become liquid and building their portfolio careers of work. The CEOs love it because we're able to get in and get out and make impact on the bottom
Yeah.
line. And the employees love it because we do upskilling programs through our work and really make it all about them and delivering wins for them and
Yeah.
not us. So It's really been a win-win for all of our
Amazing.
clients in the past 5 years.
So 2 questions. You're sitting as the CEO at Franklyn West. Are you also still servicing clients? Are you sitting on the SWAT teams?
Yes. We only take on our model is quite unique in that we are more of a black card approach, so we only take on about 15 assignments a year. And those are hopefully
Okay.
through the filter of, is it a company looking to reimagine growth? Do they have the appetite to
Yeah.
change and make positive change in their business? Are they brands that are purpose driven, brands that we're aligned with? So, we've worked with some world class brands and leaders, and it's really about for us driving purpose and profit.
I love it. Purpose and profit. And so another question for you. We spent a lot of time during this series for people. What we saw is that there's a lot of people who haven't had experience. Maybe they've still had tons of success, but in this more like startup driven space, we realized we had a lot of people who didn't understand exactly the structure of the C-suite. So we spend a lot of time over the series defining it. And then I feel like we're still left with like one piece we could help define. So there's been a lot of question around like what's the difference between a freelancer, a fractional, floating talent, a consultant, and having your own agency. Is it the same? Is it the difference? There's overlap. Do you see it in like different buckets? I have a few ideas, but I'm interested to hear yours.
So we believe that when companies have a problem to solve, if they bring in a big, expensive traditional consulting firm, there's of course
Yeah.
great long term research involved in those projects, but they're not going to get the quick and dirty real work affordably, right? However, if the company sources independent consultants and silos, there's no scalable impact there. So our firm, Franklyn West, was really built to create a holistic SWAT team of expertise that are the gaps within the company where we plug in and add incremental value. So this model, we have a 90% return rate with our clients because this really is the model of the future. It's what CEOs need and CMOs need to help grow and scale faster.
I love it, and I think it solves a real problem and a real gap. And so my question is, you guys would come up with like, okay, here's because of the team you put together, here's the solution, but I'm guessing as well the level of talent you're working with can also execute the strategy, right? It's not like
Yes, we never stop at
in my
strategy.
experience with like a more traditional. Okay, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, here's your strategy in this 150-page deck, and then they have no one to execute it, and there's no follow up. I love that. I
Yes,
think
we
that's
do
like
quick and
a huge
dirty.
innovation.
We do quick and dirty discovery and strategy and spend the majority of our time on co-developing the ideas and driving revenue.
Amazing, which I feel like everyone likes, right? And I think is we've talked about this with a few other guests as well. And I know, like I say about in our own business as well. Do you feel like there's like the goal is normally you can like put yourself out of business? Like we always say that, like if we do the project and we deliver 100%, you should see the return on investment and we can go back, we can come back in for another project, but there should be a clear like start point, a clear end point, and a clear return on investment.
Yes, you wanna always drive those growth points. It needs to be the proof of growth needs to be there, and even though you then replace yourself, I promise you, smart C-suite
Yeah,
will call you back for other assignments. So you have to have that
totally.
confidence in business to go in, solve the problem, and get out, but I promise you, if you do a good job and you prove the growth and incrementality in what you're doing, they will call you back for the next assignment.
No, agreed completely, right? And I also feel like the benefit as well, you've also had that learning curve while you're executing the first project of getting to know the teams better, getting to know the internal working. So it sets you up for even more success for the next project. I was wondering, could you give us like a real life example where you feel like a project you guys worked on that was resolved and it was such a better solution to bring in like a fractional team or floating talent? Could you tell me, is floating talent for you the same as fractional?
I
Or
don't
do you feel
think
like
about
it's different?
only think of fractional as the fact that by 2027, 50.5% of the workforce will not be servicing a corporation full time anymore. How they then choose to use their time just can take a million different approaches. So for us, we think about how are
Yeah.
we accessing the most high caliber liquid MVP talent and pairing them with the most important
Yeah.
brands in the world to help extract, all of their incredible wisdom and experience to help these companies succeed. So that's just how we think about it.
I love it. Yeah, I think it's like it's like there's so many fine subtleties through it. And I think it's interesting. What we see 100% is the trend is this like completely reimagined workforce, right? What in whatever aspect you're working, however you want to work, we see it from the employee and also from from the companies. So I think it's whenever you have such a clear offering, it's very helpful.
Everyone wants to work this way. The companies want a more agile, fluid experience. The employees want to be upskilled and to win in new ways for their companies. And then the growing fractional workforce wants to build portfolio careers of work. So it's this trifecta that is really the
Agreed.
modern day workforce and how we should all be approaching business growth and scale.
So, biggest misconception, I think I know what the answer is to this. Biggest misconception leaders have before working with you or the team has before bringing you in.
That we might, as traditional consulting firms do, hand off a strategy deck and some guidance and not have skin in the game to bring it to
Yeah.
life. And so
Yeah.
that's actually the opposite of what we do. We build a strategy very quickly and get in the trenches with the full-time team and senior leaders to bring that to life, to get to the growth proof points as quickly as possible.
I love that. I think as well, what I've seen and what we've heard from a lot of other people as well, it's always, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but there's a small amount of internal friction that people are going to lose their jobs and be replaced by your team. It feels like that's always anytime there's like someone coming in from outside. We always try and say like, no, no, like we're just like adding to your toolbox. Like we don't want anyone's job here. We just want to like add value. But yeah, it feels like that's still something people are getting used to internally.
Yeah. And the greatest example is a recent retail media network we built from inception to building the business model to building all the go to market sales strategy, doing all the hiring, all the technology evaluations, and bringing all of that to life. We did it with a skeleton crew internally because they had a million other remits. This was just one
Yeah.
portion of it. And we built it for them. And then we hired all the people full time to go and run it for the next 4 years. So it'll be $1 billion new revenue stream in the next 3 years.
Amazing. Amazing. And then I have a question as well. So at Franklin West right now, what's the problem you're most like focused on solving or like you're most excited to solve? Like what's your like, ooh, that's my jam. Like I love to solve this problem. This we could do all day, every day.
The best is when we can get in and quickly assess where the low hanging fruit revenue growth is for a company.
Yeah.
And then turning that on very quickly as we're building long term revenue strategy that can last over time. So, really, that toggle between short term revenue growth and long term revenue growth is where we're
Yeah.
focused because our C suite leaders are under so much pressure with their boards, with their CEOs to deliver incrementality in their roles, whether that's a chief marketing officer, a chief operating officer, a CFO. Loves working with us because we're really their right hand, riding shotgun with them,
Yeah.
helping them turn on success for their businesses.
Interesting. I think that's like very interesting as well because I think in a space where you see so much business and so many startups and so much success that people are publishing on Instagram and on LinkedIn and across all these different channels. But it's interesting. We were having a conversation ourselves with a client the other day, and really at the end of the day, what you don't hear so much conversation around is like revenue, right? Like if you're not actually like growing the revenue, are you actually running a business, right? And I think it's like very interesting to make sure that like you're focused on that. And I think
Yes.
even no matter what level you're working on, right? Like the business needs revenue, which it seems like a lot of that's
Well,
gotten cloudy.
it is innate to me. I spent the majority of my career as a chief commercial officer. So
Yeah,
I always had the number. I lived and died by the number in every
yeah,
job I've ever had. For me to really be the eyes and ears for these senior leaders who need to drive revenue is a dream come true because there's always opportunity for growth in a business or in a
yeah.
career. And really now we're in the business of helping other people and companies succeed. So it's really a true passion of mine. And I just feel so blessed to be in this business every day.
I love it. And how does a company engage with Franklin West?
They send a brief. They send a brief around here's the business challenge, blocking
Okay.
growth. Here's what we have internally where I think we're covered. Here are the gaps in either roles, skill set, technology capability. And here's the timeline and budget range we have around this initiative. And then we very quickly assemble the SWAT team to come in and diagnose, provide a recommendation, and turn whatever it is on, whether that's a
Goodness.
new revenue stream, breaking into a new category, upskilling and recruiting, whatever the gaps are, we very quickly fill them and then get out.
Okay, amazing, amazing. And could I ask, so we as a trend forecasting agency here, we like to do a quick trend take. So I have a few questions for you.
Great.
And you can tell me it's either like hot or not. So when surveyed, 70 in this changing work landscape, 78% of workers say that they would rather work 4 days a week rather than take a raise. This is like
I
a
believe it.
game.
I
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
it. I believe it.
Do you think from if you're the company owner, is this good for business, bad for business?
I think you have to identify who are your key stakeholders, right? You have employees, you have agencies, you have your board members, you have all these different stakeholders. And you have to figure out what are the priorities and pain points of those stakeholders and merge solutions together that fit the company that you're representing, and every company is different. So I think
Definitely.
it's about keeping an open mind and then keeping folks accountable. So if you go to 4 days a week, how are you putting accountability measures in place to make sure that the performance of the business is still strong?
Not affected. Great answer. AI generated brand campaigns, future of marketing or creative killer?
In the middle.
In the
So
middle.
I
Yeah,
would say AI is an amazing efficiency tool. It's an amazing right hand to make your campaigns stronger and better and faster delivery. But will it fully replace the amazing creativity in our industry and creative agencies? And absolutely not. As long as those firms and creative directors are embracing modern technology,
definitely.
then it's a win for everybody. I tend to look at things through an abundant mindset. It's just more tools in our arsenal to create more innovation and drive growth in our
Exactly.
businesses.
No, exactly. And I feel like there's been so many, like if you look at like the last 20 years that like I imagine we've been working, is there's been a lot of new tools added, right? Like I tell people, it's interesting to think whenever I graduated from university, we didn't have iPhones. And so it's like you right. And people integrate tools all the time. If there's like a new tool that seems a little bit scary and it feels like it might take over your job, I think to your point as well, it's about like embracing it, mastering the tool, and like keeping your toolbox like up to date.
Yes, the biggest challenges C-suite leaders have right now, whether it's Fortune 500 or startups, is change management around AI, right? Is really managing the fears around AI, upskilling their employees around AI, and how AI can be used in a million different ways for companies, but it needs to be a tops down approach as well as bottoms up.
Agreed. No, agreed completely. Okay, next one. Corporate titles like chief evangelist, innovative or unnecessary fluff?
Unnecessary.
I hate this as well. Over, I'm sometimes scanning the pages of LinkedIn looking for something, and I'm like, what? You don't know what that is. I always
Yes.
feel like it's better to call an apple an apple.
And everyone should be an evangelist at their company. There shouldn't be one person. It should be everyone should be forward thinking, innovative, boundary pushing at their company, not
I thought
a handful of people.
not just the person at the top. LinkedIn with the more casual approach. It feels like I suddenly see people posting much more personal content and LinkedIn making a push for like more casual content.
You see that? And
Oh,
how do
yeah.
you feel about that?
Get it off my LinkedIn page. I already have. I feel like there's a million other channels, but I think I really appreciated LinkedIn whenever it was like very driven like by business and focused. Now I feel like it's not this for me, it's definitely not the same tool it was before. Like there's so much extra fluff, so much sponsored content. I think I
Yeah.
like it as like a purely like professional. I mean, I think it's great if I don't know, you like your kid wins their swim meet. I don't know that linked it needs to be on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well, I think when folks are posting 24/7 to LinkedIn, my biggest question is when are they actually doing the work?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's a balance around building your personal brand, of course, on LinkedIn, which is absolutely necessary. But sitting on LinkedIn all day long, pushing out content about your kids, to me, I would not want that person as a C suite leader at my company.
No, agreed, agreed. It feels like there's something
So
more valuable to be
a
done with the
couple times
time.
a week, great.
Yeah.
Also, post when you had something meaningful to say, whether
Yeah,
it's a thought leadership piece, an article you read, an inspirational quote, but always through the lens of how am I adding value in this business community today?
definitely. I think that's very good that some people should filter it themselves. And then let me see. C-suite leaders on TikTok.
How do
Brave
you
or
feel
trying
about
too hard?
how do you feel about this?
Think. I don't think that every single brand leader needs to be a media company. And I know myself personally in our business has been that's not something we're interested in doing, but it seems like the customers, it seems like there's a landscape where there's a demand for it. It just feels like you could be an amazing leader but not need to have a TikTok following. I think it depends on like your values. I also think it depends on what generation you're from, what field you're working in. But it
Right.
seems like an added pressure, which also I think to your previous point, if it points to like driving more revenue, interesting. But if it's just this like have to have
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
media and actually
Yeah.
have a brand function as a media agency, I
Yeah.
think it's unfortunate.
Yeah. I think it's work smarter, not harder. Figure out who are your key stakeholders. Are they on TikTok? If you're pitching CMOs every day, are they all on TikTok? Well, then your
Yeah.
business should be on TikTok.
Yeah,
But it's also important to be on emerging platforms representing our thought leadership in our
definitely.
businesses. But again, to do something, to be on a platform just to be there, I think is distracting.
Yeah, and I think it can be distracting from the brand, but also for the person who's featured. If it's this like C-suite leader, to your same point as LinkedIn, like don't they have other things to do? Like it
I
seems
don't
like
know. I mean,
yeah, I would hope.
running my business, I'm 95% servicing my clients all day
Yeah.
and 5% on social media, but it's
Yeah.
important, but it's not the most important thing, right? It's
No,
really that
definitely.
balance.
And could I ask you as well from that because I feel like as well it's become like social media. There's so many questions around it. Like, is it about marketing and branding or is it for biz dev? What's mainly driving your I think I know the answer to this, but what's mainly driving your biz dev?
We use social media to make impact, right?
Yep.
I think and pray every morning when I wake up, help me use me as a vessel to make positive impact in the business community, make a big, broad impact, add value, be incremental. That's what, when I think about social media, that's what I think about.
That makes a lot of sense. And focusing back on this like fractional work. So how do you know when a company is ready or not ready for you? So if there's I'm guessing you get a lot of inquiries and sometimes you're like, "Oh no, not for us." What's like the defining line? Like because I'm guessing I would guess that you want to go someplace as you stated where you can make an impact and sometimes it's clear the companies aren't ready yet. So what are for you some like red flags like, "Oh, they're not ready for us yet."
A red flag is when, let me think about that. Because we try and look for the red flags. The red flags are when they think they want change or they've been tasked to make change,
Yeah.
but they aren't willing to jump off the cliff, right? So
Yeah.
they've hired you and you end up spending way too much time in strategy and conversation versus let's go, right?
Yeah.
We rarely get in those situations because we usually vet it before we
Well
sign
enough.
off,
Yeah.
but we want to work with leaders who want to make things happen.
Yeah.
And so we try and look for that. Nice clients, right? You want to have a good work experience. We want our liquid workforce to have a good fulfilling experience. So we respect and all of our values. We also like to work fast. So we need to make sure there's someone on the other end as our point of contact who can help us move as quickly as we
Definitely.
want to move. A
Yeah, I
lot of
feel like
times scheduling discovery calls is the longest part of the process is getting
yeah,
on the calendars of all the right people.
yeah,
Often that can be a challenge.
yeah, and once you guys are working on a project, are you normally working virtually, or do you normally have a kickoff where you all go in person and, like, run a workshop, or it's normally all virtual?
It's specific to the client. Some
Mm,
clients are very in-person heavy,
yeah.
and that's their preference. Some wanna move fast, go through virtual, and be a bit more, I don't wanna say transactional, but efficient, right?
Yeah,
So
or
I
they have a
think
dispersed team, right?
dispersed team. So I just think it depends on the client, and we tailor everything to our clients.
In the next 3 to 5 years, what should we expect from Franklin West? Like, what's with this large demand of a, like, more liquid workforce, what big plans can you tell us about?
Big plans. We want to be driving multi-billion-dollar growth across some of the most lucrative categories: retail, CPG, beauty, wellness, tech. We want to be in the center of the most important conversations that are driving positive change in business for the commercials, for the employees, for all of our stakeholders. We want to be in there making big impact very quickly, and we want to see tangible difference in our work. We don't wanna do strategy all the
Yeah.
time. We wanna
Yeah.
turn things on, make things happen, put more success into the hands of our C-suite leaders, our clients who we service every day.
Definitely. And do you have any advice? So say someone's in a more like traditional role now. Do you feel like before they make the jump to like working in this like liquid manner or in a fractional way, do you feel like it's important first that they've reached the C-suite? Are you only seeing mainly like in your
Mhm.
network and the network you pull from? Does everyone have C-suite experience
Yeah.
or have they more or could they just be an area expert?
It's a mix. It's domain expertise, it's C-suite expertise looking to leave corporate. I would say don't just leave because lead generation can be very challenging for our experts, which is where we come in and really help find opportunity for them. I would say if you're in a corporate role, how do you maximize the corporate role for learning and impact? But
Yeah.
then maybe you have permission to do a few side hustles where you have some consulting projects on the side and you're able to double your income. You're able to create your portfolio that way. And I promise you, you'll probably end up doing better work for your company by having some diversification of your experience and learnings.
No, exactly. I think, we've seen that a lot in our agency that there's always like a lot of pushback like, "Oh, don't you work with like our competition?" But I feel like our answer to that is always like we have this like wide net of information. Obviously, we have strict NDAs. We're not sharing information correctly, but having like a wide view into the market and what's happening makes us like that's in that kind of like always on to that makes it much easier for us to
Yeah,
find
yeah.
solutions for a specific client.
I understand.
I also agree with you completely, like, I love a good side hustle. People ask us these, like, similar questions frequently. I love an approved side hustle, not a shady side hustle
Yeah.
where then you get in trouble or you're not delivering on your normal job. But because I agree, I think some people are really good at the work, but they don't realize how hard it is to generate leads. And of course, a
Yeah.
lot of times if you exit a job, I feel like you have some warm leads maybe that you can bring with
Yeah,
you. But when those dry up and you have to find new leads, and I think also some people don't realize how hard it is to close deals as well, right? Just
that's
because you're an
right.
area expert doesn't mean that you're amazing at biz dev or that you're going to be able to like close
Yeah.
all of the projects and
Yeah,
clients
I
like
mean, the
contracts.
majority of our business has come from past work and word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
So it's we don't have a proactive biz dev engine. It's very
Yeah.
much been do great work and more great work will follow. And that has
Yeah.
really been powerful over the past 5 years and just celebrating our 5 year anniversary.
Congratulations. No, that's interesting. Us as well. We're really working on this like referral business. A lot of people in the industry moving around, so then they would make introductions to us. And we hit our 10-year anniversary in the spring, and we were like, wait, what would happen? How much growth is possible if we did turn on like a biz dev, like or like a sales funnel? And so we've been toying with that, and our conclusion is that's so much work and you don't get in it's a lot of investment for like a more long-term return. So it's in the works here, but myself I was like, "Well, this is maybe something I don't really want to have to do."
Yeah, I think organic growth is the way to go. Just put heads down, doing great work. More is not more. Fewer,
I
better
agree.
partnerships.
No, I agree. I agree. And I think that as well. And I think always like, like it's the old adage, but it's always like the client you already have is the best client. So I think we have a similar like methodology where we're like, can we add more value? What else? Like, so I feel like the relationship becomes people count on us as well, like almost like we're part of their team. So it seems like then a lot more
That's right.
pops up.
That's right. That's right.
So since we are here at Tacos and Trends, what is your taco order, Ashley? What's the Southern taco?
I
Is there a
just
local
had a
taco?
taco. I had a
Okay, tell me.
breakfast taco about 30 minutes ago.
Uh, was this made at home or you have
This
like
is Ladybird Taco,
okay.
uh, and they do tacos and coffee, and so my
Oh,
order
tacos
was
and
a
coffee.
corn tortilla, homemade corn tortilla with chorizo, egg, and avocado with
I
lots of
love it.
hot sauce.
Okay. Okay. I love it. Shout out
And
Ladybird.
I have to throw in my coffee order. It was so delicious. It was called an AGT, which is
Okay.
coffee, cinnamon, honey, and almond milk. And it was
Mm.
absolutely delicious. So you got to
Oh
try
my
it.
okay. I love it. I love it. And one fractional truth every founder should know, Ashley.
Great things take time.
Well said. Well said. And where can people find you, learn more, follow you? Give us all the deets.
Yes, you can follow me on LinkedIn at Ashley Miles, and my company is Franklyn West, Franklin with a Y, named after my grandparents, Frank and Madeline, two incredible people in my life, self made business leaders, and on Instagram at I am Ashley Miles. Can't wait to get
Amazing.
to know you.
Ashley, thank you so much for bringing so much clarity, insight, and experience. It was great talking to you. And I love understanding how this like model isn't really like just a flash in the pan, right? It's really transformative. It's bigger
Yes.
than just a trend. It's really the future. And I really appreciate the insights.
Thank you, Autumn. Well, congrats on your business and everything you've built. 10 years. Wow, that's the dream. You've really done it.
Thank you so much. And for those listening, thank you for tuning in to Tacos and Trends. The future is fractional. More bold insights coming soon from the women reimagining the future of leadership. Until next time, stay curious, and we look forward to telling you more.